Thank God for Pakistan.
Thank God for Pakistan, man.
Pakistan is a refuge.
Yeah.
Pakistan is you might want to call it a safe space.
Yeah.
Pakistan is a tricky place,
Yeah.
a tough place,
Yeah.
but a place nonetheless where you have some assumed basic respect from the moment
Yeah.
you're born, some civility.
Yeah. You have a standing.
You have a standing, or at the very least, you're not fated to be a second-class citizen no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a better formulation.
I think that's a fair formulation, at least for us Muslims, for sure.
Yeah.
So the Javed Akhtar versus this Mufti Shamail, what are your thoughts?
Bro, I try to be as intellectually honest and charitable as I can, but there was a certain glee that I felt watching this debate, which no one can ever take away from me. Because this excuse for a Richard Dawkins style new age scientism based atheism. Bro, not a fan.
Not a fan.
It is
Definitely not a fan.
Really not a fan. It is.
I mean, there's nothing that makes me happier than watching one of these like secular, rational, I'm a free thinker, atheist, libtard, boomertards get dunked on. And especially when they get dunked on by like this youngish looking mufti with a beard. It's like, oh my God, it made my heart sing in happiness. It's like, common Ummah W, boys. Common Ummah W confirmed. I hate this guy.
And bro, this is the choice, and we were just talking about this. The Javed Akhtar phenotype archetype is one of two choices that you have as an Indian Muslim.
Yeah. Absolutely. Either you go live in an ethnic enclave and hope you don't get lynched.
The biggest in the world.
Or you can be a Javed Akhtar or one of these actors and you twerk for an audience that fucking hates your guts, hoping that maybe they give you a few crumbs of affection along the way. Yeah. Thank God for Pakistan.
Bro, no, for real though.
Yeah.
I saw that I don't necessarily Jung talks about this. But Jung talks about this where he says that, in the modern age, where everything is so flooded with science and reason, that religion has gone on a back foot and is always trying to justify itself in dialogue with the necessities of the scientific age. Which is kind of true. And so I'm not really a big proponent for the reasoned path towards godliness, I don't really know how useful that is. But when you see this stereotypically looking mufti, this young guy, he comes on to their table, the other side's more philosophical, reason-based table, and then says, "I'm going to beat you in your own, on your own playing field." There is something really satisfying about that.
No, absolutely, and I don't think there's any arrogance that rubs me the worst way than like the new age atheist arrogance towards towards religion altogether.
But it's a Reddit child, like...
It's like a Reddit child. It's like, bro, look, our entire moral systems are adapted off of theologies. All the history, all the societies we have had in human history have had some sort of faith as a central pillar for all the development they have done. But no, you are arrogant enough to come to this realization that through rational thought, through you, Javed Akhtar, only you came to this realization that, this is the right way of living life. It's not as if, you haven't been influenced by a Christian ethic. It's not as if you haven't been influenced by all these ethical systems laid out by religion. No, you're the secular rational thinker who came to all these conclusions by yourself.
Bro, if you try to tell a Pakistani secular atheist type that actually it is a very dominant strain of thinking in the West amongst serious philosophers, which says modern liberal secularism is basically an extremist offshoot of Protestantism, which it obviously is. Right?
Obviously it is.
And you'll have this entire class of people which will say that, we oppose, we have a very strong, firm pro-democracy stance. Yet we oppose colonialism. We're against neo-imperialism. I'm like, brother, that is the same thing. The only reason we have Westphalian-style, Westminster-style democracy in this country today, it is a definition of a colonial project. It is the remnants of a Protestant tradition that goes back several hundred years in many places in the world, not ours. Right? And then you have the Javed Akhtars. Right? The worst.
Speaking of colonial experiment, you क्या हमेशा English झड़ रहे होते हो?
Bro,
Remnant की औलाद.
Acid लगा के.
Bro, so Baz, where did you get your
What is this accent, sir? Explain me this.
bro? Where did you get your fake accent from?
Man, there's
Where
this,
did you buy it from?
bro.
Alibaba?
No. I'll tell you, bro. There's this sick like store in London. It's called Accents Are Us, and I bought it for like £10. You know,
Yeah.
that's where I got mine from.
Where do you fake yours from, bro?
Yeah.
I got mine from Disney Channel.
Acha,
Didn't get from KGS?
you can get from grammar.
KGS? Grammar school?
Didn't you get from grammar?
Bro, so what the funniest part is, bro?
Yeah.
One of these people who wake up at like 8 a.m. to hate on us in our comments, right?
Yeah.
Was like, these kids are trying to put on a grammarian accent. This is what they think a grammarian sounds like. I'm like, buddy, I literally went there.
Yeah.
Like what? Like I'm like, bro, what is going on?
Bro.
And it's a lot of, you know, overseas Pakistanis are some of our best audience.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are just like, why are you trying to sound American? Why are you trying, like, firstly, this is like...
Brother, first of all, you're an asylum seeker. Don't speak to me. You know, don't speak to me in that tone. Okay, first of all. Secondly, the rest of you I really like. Okay, don't get it twisted. I'm sorry I had to do that. You know what I mean?
Bro, it's like, no, but what I found interesting about the whole accent thing is that, you know, the people who immediately, I mean, the Pakistanis who got it just got it. They didn't need to like got it. They immediately got it. Right? But what I found really interesting was the Indians who got it. They grasped it immediately.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, why do they sound like, you know, South Delhi boys, Bombay boys, this, that? It's like because it's the same lineage. Right?
Yeah.
If you go to a colonial school anywhere in the subcontinent, people sound like some approximation of this.
Yeah.
Right. And the people who know just know.
Yeah.
Right. And like. The people who come and try like and dunk on us about this, it's like
our accent. It's like, bro, you're telling on yourself.
you're telling on yourself.
You're telling on
like,
when you make fun of my accent, you're telling on yourself.
Yeah.
Long way of saying Eminem ki aulad.
Eminem ki aulad and proud, baby. Eminem ki aulad and proud.
It's like there's one source of traceable. You know, if you went to colonial school, everyone sounds like that because it used to be run by the British. I'm not saying this out of pride. I'm saying this out of matter of fact. That just is the way it is. You know, and like if you take this as a flex, which it isn't. That's just kind of on you.
You know? You're telling on yourself, brother. And like from this entire stream of thinking, right? Another thing I want to address, which is like, you know, some of the blatant anti-intellectual that we have to deal with in our comments, and like, you know, just a line, and it's not just our comments. I think this line of thinking is extremely characteristic of what we're kind of dealing with in the subcontinent and the greater Muslim world at large, which is like, how dare you engage with like, you know, Western ideas or Western thoughts, or like, how dare you read a book, you burger. You know what I mean? This entire line of thinking, and it's just so stupid when you just have to open a history book and the conclusion you will come to is that Sir Allama Muhammad Iqbal was Sir
Allama Iqbal,
the
champion of Muslim identity in the subcontinent. You're telling me he was knighted and that he actually was civil with the British because he realized that was necessary in order for the people to progress?
Unfortunately, yes. That is what I'm telling you. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was extremely well educated, who did study in the UK, I think, who did speak mostly in English, who did wear all their type of clothes.
Was Qaeda Azam a burger, bro?
Was Qaeda Azam a burger? That's my question. And like,
and does that make you a bad Pakistani?
Yeah. And let's take a macro view for a second. I would say that the greatest time in Islamic Muslim history must have been the Abbasid Caliphate. The Abbasid Caliphate set up the Enlightenment, the Renaissance, like, you know, they are a key player in human history. Well, the Abbasid Caliphate brought the greatest thinkers from Persia, from Greece, from the subcontinent, all into one place. With what goal in mind? To create knowledge. Like, these guys spent today's equivalent of millions and billions of dollars, something like 3 to 4% of their GDP on research and development. That's basically what they did. And what was their goal? They wanted to transcribe the Greek masters into Arabic. They wanted to innovate on that exact Western thought that you give us or anyone like us shit for subscribing to. Like, nowhere does it say that you have to close your mind off to the world, to great ideas. Like, you know, the greatest...
most universally acknowledged Islamic philosophers. They've got, you know, orthodoxy often has issues with them, and so do I. But Ibn Rushd, Ibn Sina, were they burgers? Okay.
Yeah.
Ibn
Of course, they read Aristotle and they read Plato. They've got to be burghers, right?
Ibn Rushd
Yeah.
is in some ways the modern intellectual or his time's intellectual incarnation of Aristotle.
Yeah.
Right. And on the other hand, you've got Ibn Sina, who retells or captures the essence of Plato.
Yeah.
Right. And when you've got both of these guys basing their religious systems thinking off
the Greek
masters, right? Were these guys burghers?
Yeah, maybe they were. And like, let's just not stop there. Let's go a step further. These guys made geometry. These guys made alchemy. These guys made trigonometry. You know, algorithm. Algorithm is named after algorithmy. I'm forgetting his Arabic name.
Al-Khwarizmi, yeah.
Al-Khwarizmi, yeah. Like, these guys were supreme minds. His anglicized name was Al-Khwarizmi. Yeah. So these guys were brilliant thinkers. I mean, I don't want to get into Ibn Khaldun, who's arguably the father of the social sciences, of the humanities. Like, all philosophy of history is a footnote to the project that Ibn Khaldun started. He's
the first person to systematize history.
Yeah.
And to say that...
into civilizational cycles, into the Asabiya, into, like, you know, what causes the rise and downfall of civilization. I don't think anyone laid it out as well as he did. You know what I mean?
This is a larger phenomenon, which I find really problematic. And this isn't limited to the Muslim world. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, there's this bipolar tendency of splitting people.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so for example, we talk about Ayub Khan.
Yeah.
We say that he had good style, which represented our country abroad well.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
Right? We say that, you know, there were certain congruences in between the way he dressed and his personality and the way he ruled, etc. I think that if you take that commentary as we worship Ayub Khan, or we think that he's, you know, the leader to be aspired to, or that you even take that as an endorsement of his personality, period, that is it's a serious kind of projection.
Yeah.
Because what you're telling me is that you can't have a positive thought or formulation about anyone unless you like them.
Yeah.
Right? And that you take any acknowledgement of someone's merits as an endorsement of that person as a whole, as opposed to the basic phenomenological approach to history, to politics, to philosophy, where you say that this person is a fact in history.
Yeah.
And you take the good and you leave the bad.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to do this in order to think.
Yeah.
Bro, these formulations are timeless.
Yeah.
The formulation of the Muslims has always been clear that take the good, take the truth, even if it comes from the devil himself.
Yeah.
The formulation of Thomas Aquinas is also, it's beautiful. He says that the truth belongs to God wherever it may be found.
Yeah.
So the most evil person ever could say something that's
profoundly true.
Profoundly, manifestly true. And you take it from them. So the truth, no one except divinity itself is the arbiter of truth.
Yeah.
So when you recognize it, you take it on board, right? So the ability to have a nuanced conversation, to have a charitable interpretation of absolutely anything, it's like, am I, because someone got their feelings hurt about saying that Ayub Khan dressed well, am I going to reduce 10 years of Pakistani history, which are important to contend with, to 3 definitely concerning facts about a person, right? And you know, it's like this self-righteousness, because it's like, I mean, don't you know that this person did this bad thing and this bad thing? It's like, we know. But
everyone has done bad things. And here's the thing, Momi, we're still bringing it down to something very, very literal. I think that, you know, when a lot of people from our part of the world talk about, hey, we don't have intellectual representation, we don't have artistic representation. It's like, no, it's not the West's fault. If you look at the greatest Western work ever, which is Dante's Inferno from the Divine Comedy, he, in like the first limbo, meets Aristotle, he meets Plato, he meets Diogenes, he meets Homer, he meets the greatest minds in the European canon. Who else does he meet with them?
Ibn Rushd and Ibn Sina.
Yes. They respected Fibonacci numbers, all of this stuff. Where do you think all of the ideas behind these things come from? They come from us. So it's not that the European, the Western mind doesn't have respect for the things we've done. They have great amount of respect. We don't have respect for it when we fucking say you're a burger because you're into this shit. We don't respect ourselves. That's the problem. It's not a them problem, it's an us problem. It's a low self-esteem problem with us. When we're like, no, you dress Western, you talk in English, you read this stuff, so you're a fucking burger. It's like, yeah, I am a fucking burger. You guys should be as well, if you really think about it.
And you know, the again, the splitting.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the assumption, for example, that
Yeah.
we get from a lot of the audience as well,
Yeah.
that if our English is good, our Urdu must be bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, buddy, you don't know me, dog.
You don't know me. You don't even know where my accent's from. And you're telling on yourself and you don't know where my accent's from. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's like, okay, like, if your entire, this weird, narcissistic self-image where you're like, I must be better than them because they speak in English and my Urdu is better. It's like, buddy, what happens when you find out my Urdu is also much better than yours? And that I read literary Urdu. Like, what happens then, right? So it's like, treat people with normal, due, charitable respect. As we try to do with, everyone that interacts with us.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm ready to talk to anyone. I can talk to a Marxist. I can talk to a lefty. I can talk to anything. I can talk to a Nazi. The only thing I actually can't speak to is one of these Richard Dawkins type atheists.
That's a bit tough.
Oh my God.
It's a bit tough.
These people, there are not enough isms that are existent for me to feel what I feel against these guys. These arrogant guys. Yeah.
Bro, but you'll notice this.
Yeah.
Right? And now to this, everyone's going to say that, are you a psychologist?
Yeah.
How can you say this? But the literature on this is undeniable.
Yeah.
That those people, and on those specific topics, when they have a visceral, violent, angry reaction to what is otherwise a very normal take that exists in the world, if you're having like serious emotional contortions listening to the burger shop, that probably just means you're very insecure about your beliefs. The only belief that feels a serious affront to a very normally and, almost milquetoast way expressed academic belief is a weakly held academic belief.
Yeah.
Right? You're only going to get super mad about something we say if you don't really know how to defend it. And you see that. So the people who have like genuine deep criticisms of what we're saying, how is it that all of them express themselves so well and they write like long things to us or they message us and it's like, so it's exhilarating almost. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you see the people getting mad, then they also, it's not a coincidence they express themselves a certain way.
Yeah.
And then they have nothing to back it up with.
Yeah.
Right? And that again is the splitting where it's like, and maybe this is a result of the algorithm and social media as well, that you're so tapped into a certain way of thinking, it's offensive to you when someone suggests anything else. And and I find this to be uniquely hilarious when it comes to the burger shop.
Yeah.
When we express anything that can be taken as even remotely conservative,
Yeah.
people start having meltdowns as if they don't live in Karachi, Pakistan.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like, buddy, 99% of the people out there don't just agree with us, they probably hold more conservative versions of what we're saying. Right? So imagine if you're having a meltdown based off us saying that we don't like nudity in movies.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen to you when you actually go outside in Pakistan, meet real people, right? And what's gonna happen when you meet those people and face their beliefs? But I think there's a kind of arrogance there.
Yeah.
There's a deep kind of arrogance there. Because why aren't you offended when your house help or the guy who works at who has a little chai ki dukaan or whatever?
Yeah.
That they have deeply held, very conservative beliefs. Why aren't you offended by that? And I think I have an answer for that. It's that
you think they're below you.
Of
course, they can't know more. Yeah.
You think they're below you?
Of course, they can't know more than you.
And
they're just not exposed to the shit you are.
That's the keyword, the exposure part.
Yeah.
Because I think the assumed superiority that Pakistani liberals have of the global liberal hegemony is so deeply rooted that their formulation is basically, if you're Pakistan and you speak English and you've been exposed to liberal ideas, then you must bend the knee.
Yeah.
And
what happened when these arrogant pricks actually face up against somebody on the other side who knows their shit? You get Javed Akhtar versus this Mufti.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
You get it absolutely f***ing bodied. That's what you have. That's what happened.
Bro, imagine if you have this assumed superiority, and you meet someone from rural Pakistan or any normal, not liberal person in Pakistan, and if you're saying that those exposed to the West must bend the knee to Western liberal values, you're saying that, yaar, inki to aukaat nahi, inko to pata hi nahi hai. Inko to Angrezi nahi aati, ye nahi aati, to, they're not even worth accounting for.
Yeah.
And we won't even blame them for not being very liberal.
Yeah.
Because They don't have the exposure in the first place.
Yeah.
How could they ever reach those conclusions? Only those where the direct pipeline to the West can. And when they have a direct pipeline, they must bend the knee.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And man, another thing that we come across really often in Pakistan is when anyone's successful or makes money, this immediate angry reaction, ये तो काला पैसा होगा.
कैसे बनाया है?
इससे तो दोनों
कुछ धांधली होगी.
As if no private person in Pakistan has ever made it using finance, right? And obviously there's the angle of people who think like that are most likely never going to make it.
Yeah, absolutely
right?
not. Absolutely.
Because if you tell yourself that there's no fair path to get to a decent, successful place in Pakistan, then you're not even going to try.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, yes, of course, but there's a lot of caveats attached to living in Pakistan. Where if you're a builder, there's 100 things you have to do where you wouldn't have to do the rest of the world. Right? Even simple things, sometimes you want to file your taxes. Right? And you have to give a bribe to file your taxes, That is the country we live in. The tough things, it's not that. But the case being, what I'm trying to say at least, is that, yes, you will come across a lot of typical developing country do numbriyan. Pakistan.
Yeah, we're not saying they don't again. We're not excusing them. We're not excusing corruption or anything in that.
Of course.
But this heuristic that people have, it's like, oh, where did you come from? Oh, how the did you get this? It's like, oh, you must be like, shady about it. Like it's the worst type of gatekeeping, in my opinion. It's the worst type of social, and it's not just that
it's like socially engineering the aspirational class to never enter success.
Even if you forget the aspirational class for a second, right? Even if you look at it in your elite class, right? Most of your elite class have this mindset.
Yeah.
Most of them. In fact, they're even more vicious about somebody new coming in than maybe somebody from a not elite class is. Like, there's like a deep insecurity in this thing. And if you ask me, like, what is the most important thing for a country's economic development? It's counterintuitive, but it's new money. Your elite, the top of your fucking totem pole, economic totem pole, should be turning over every 10 years, because that reflects innovation, that reflects development. This is what's happening in China, and this is what's happening in America, and that's why these countries run the world.
The entire tech counter elite.
The entire tech counter elite.
That's what it is.
That's basically what it is. It's like there are a bunch of new boys who are extremely driven and extremely gifted, and they ended up taking over the system. This is how it works. And
like the only path to becoming a very successful, very rich young man, say in the West was, you go straight to Wall Street. Or you go straight to the financial district in London. And I was like, you can become a content creator and become a 100 millionaire,
Absolutely. And this is exactly the problem that you see in like Europe today, where it's like the richest people in Europe have been the richest people in Europe for the past 400, 500 years.
They're a stale aristocracy.
It's a stale aristocracy. Like, I'm anti,
entrenched elite.
I am anti-entrenched elite as it gets, because there's nothing more destructive to a country's like vitality and innovation as that. Like, we have this villainization of new money. Yeah, okay, I can get it. Like, some of the aesthetics of it can be tacky, but please just get off that mindset for a second. But like, these are the most important people to drive your economy forward, to drive your development forward.
To make it a little practical, new money will always have an element of productivity to it, because they're obviously producing some output in order to generate a return.
Absolutely.
With old money, and say the formation of family offices, or having an endless array of assets, is you're inevitably going to go towards rent seeking, because you're getting so much. If you've got a $100 million corpus, even with a 10% return, you're making so much money doing nothing every year that you've got a disincentive to use that money. Because in absolute terms, if someone's saying zero risk, $10 million cash to you every year, why would you not take that?
Everything you're going to do is to make sure that gravy train stays, that pipeline stays open. So you're going to lobby, you're going to make sure that you get preferential treatments and stuff. And this is like, I know everyone's in love with the idea of old money, but these are the ugly things about old money, using your entrenched power, using your entrenched connections to game the system in your favor. And this is exactly the type of that the American founding fathers went out of their way to avoid. No such thing as a landed gentry, no such thing as a landed aristocracy, and that's why they rule the world today. Not because they've got a bunch of cool aristocrats. It's because they have a dynamic, pure capitalistic, competitive situation at the top where it's turning over at breakneck pace.
And people in Pakistan especially don't get it. It's like you're always railing against the feudal class. You're right to do it. Sure, one of the reasons India is where it is today is because they had land reforms.
Yeah, and they allow this, but there's a competition between the elites.
But there's a big problem there in viewing it. Yes, you're against the feudal class.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're fully on board with the interest-based financial system, which allows through the system of mortgages for banks to be your new landowners.
Yeah.
Right. You're fully aligned with not just Pakistani but mainly global tech platforms. Right, which Yanis Varoufakis brilliantly terms as techno-feudalism.
Yeah.
He says that Amazon, Facebook, all of these platforms, they're
They own real estate. Yeah, they own digital real estate. Yeah.
So, it's like, I'm anti-feudalism, but I'm going to give all my attention and everything to the global tech elite.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy a house or completely rather endorse the modern financial system, which creates new landowners, bigger corporate, more entrenched landowners in the the form of banks.
Yeah, and just the importance of a properly thriving counter elite cannot be understated. There's never been any such thing as a peasant revolution, by the way. The French Revolution was not a peasant revolution. You had a cabal of intellectuals, of merchants, of the bourgeoisie who conspired against the landed gentry, against the aristocracy to overthrow them. Maximilian Robespierre cut their heads off type. The Russian Revolution, it wasn't some peasant revolution, my boys. It was a bunch of intellectual elites who got in bed with a lot of the guys on Wall Street, Jacob Schiff, David Rockefeller, these guys, to overthrow the Tsar and the old system. So any idea of there's going to be a peasant revolution, there's going to be this, there's going to be that, no such thing, it doesn't exist. What actually brings change is a counter elite, and a counter elite is inherently new money in a lot of ways. So if you want things to change, you literally should be supporting the proliferation, the dynamicism, a turnover in your elite classes. That is the most healthy way of pushing a country forward.
Short of reforming an interest-based financial system and going towards an equity-based financial system, the single greatest thing you can do in order to have a productive economy is having a counter elite, because they're the ones who are going to give a run for the money to the entrenched elites, right? And they're the ones that are going to show them and say that, I'm earning say a 30% return off my business. And then the entrenched elite is going to say, I'm sitting around, rent seeking, getting 10, 12, 15%. This isn't enough.
Yeah.
They'll feel challenged. They'll feel a certain motivation to actually, get out of real estate, get out of debt. And go towards productive action.
And this is the most pure argument for capitalism there is. This is the power of capitalism, But we don't need people lobbying in their favors. We don't need people trying to conspire with the powers that be and using their media hands, because
capitalism was not meant to be rent-seeking. Yeah. Capitalism was not meant to be this stale aristocratic endeavor where the billionaire oligarchs capture the system and basically run it from the inside, favor themselves, and are engaged in rent-seeking forever. And yes, it is not that simple. I definitely agree with the criticism that unrestrained capital will by nature always result in elite capture. That's there, right? But again, we're not necessarily saying unrestrained capitalism.
But a country like America has avoided it really, really well by being so business friendly. Yeah, elite capture, they've avoided it as good as they can.
America is the quintessential elite capture society. Oligarchs
elite capture says, yes, let me rephrase it. Yeah. But the elite that is capturing it is constantly changing. Maybe it would have been the financial boys, now it's the tech boys. Maybe a few 40, 50 years ago, it was your Henry Ford, they were your railroad industrial. It changes. If you look at Europe by contrast, it's the same elite that have run it since the time of the Medici till today. They still run everything.
Sure, but
you know what I mean? It's the aristocratic families.
The reason,
but now neither is good, neither elite capture is good, but the turnover in the American system is much healthier, is what I'm saying.
But I mean, the reason that doesn't fit into what I was saying about capitalism being a productive process is obviously because the new counter treaty is the worst example of that, because it is techno-feudal, right? And
I mean, we don't know this yet.
I think it's very clear.
We'll have to disagree on it because.
How is it not techno-feudal?
Huh?
How is it not techno-feudal?
I think, like, I'm going to give a meta-analysis of it. It's just changing so fast. No one person, no one company, no one industry is going to have a forever hold on it. It's going to get turned over so fast. It's turning over at like breakneck pace, man. Like every day, capitalism is revolutionizing
But
itself.
to the distribution of society into most people, that makes no difference because it's still unequal as fuck. And I get
yeah, that's a fault. That's a fault in it. That's a fault in it. But feudalism implies like long-term family ownership, bloodline generations passing.
No.
It's like like
that's not what the techno-feudal idea is. The techno-feudal idea is that specific
I'm
companies
familiar with it. I'm familiar with the idea. It's just we don't have enough of a sample size to make this determination yet. Like, I mean, IBM, Dell, all these guys were puppies in the 80s. Now where are they? They're not part of the
that's not the idea. The idea is
it's software basically owning big amounts of digital land, and it's like, if you want to be successful, if you have a manufacturing business, you got to go rent land from Amazon, digital land from Amazon to access customers. If you want to market, if you're a company that wants to market your products, you have to get in bed. You have to pay rent to Facebook, Google.
Yeah, so that's rent-seeking behavior.
Yeah. I understand that.
By definition, rent-seeking behavior.
The thing is that there's still a very, very productive aspect to those companies that are making extreme value as well. So rent-seeking behavior inherently, it's like it's not producing value. It's just like sitting there and not innovating at all. The second these guys stop innovating, they get like everyone's talking about how Apple has underinvested in AI, and Apple is now being considered like, how's the future like for Apple? People aren't that bullish on Apple anymore. So it's so breakneckly competitive, bro. It's like you just can't sit like, hey, okay, this is my little fiefdom and I'm going to run it forever. You need to constantly innovate.
But I mean, Amazon kind of can. No?
Not necessarily. We don't know. None of the big players are necessarily focusing on the exact niche Amazon is.
Yeah, because they can't.
Huh? Not yet. But like, look at the entire OpenAI thing. OpenAI, puppy. Google just came out with the new Gemini that's even better than OpenAI.
The AI race is different, no? The AI race is different because they're going towards it right now. I remember the entrenched guys who got all this attention, it's hard to dethrone them.
I don't necessarily agree. I think that these spaces are so. I mean, when you talk about $4-5 billion, $1 trillion market caps, right? The competition is so fucking intense. Like these guys are poaching each other's talent for like $200 million a year.
Yeah, but not with Amazon.
Huh?
Not with Amazon.
I mean, I don't know about Amazon Web Services, Amazon the data center.
I don't think
are competing with Oracle on a daily fucking basis. You know what I mean?
The techno-feudalist critique applies in the moment to these entrenched tech companies.
Look, I'm not saying
and I think it's supposed to eventually apply to AI, but obviously it doesn't yet because the companies haven't become entrenched.
Here's the thing. I agree with the analysis of Yanis, Varoufakis, and even you for the most part that there is something wrong with the system where it is going to hurt people and stuff. But I still disagree with the characterization of it as being feudalism, because feudalism ultimately implies that here's a bunch of land, here's a bunch of like unused land that I just have ownership with it. You work on it. I'm not going to do anything productive about it. Like these companies are doing
productive output there, which is agriculture. Huh? There's productive output there, which is agriculture.
No, but the owners of that are not doing anything productive. They're renting it out. These guys are breakneckly productive with what they're doing. So yes, they are like causing some damage to society as well, but they're contributing a great amount as well. That's my issue with that characterization, where I feel like it's too Marxist coded, where it's like, they have to be able. No, I think they are doing some bad things. Nobody can deny that. There's some negative externalities, but it's a bit.
No, I agree. I don't.
Doomer to say that these guys are feudal.
Is it one to one mapped on? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But my overall view is strongly negative. And does that mean that I'm
like 50-50?
And do I have the Varoufakis opinion that I have to go full Marxist on it? I don't have that either.
Yeah.
I agree with his characterization of the problem.
Okay.
What happens after what the true solution is? I'm honestly, I've been thinking about it a lot. I don't have an answer yet. Maybe it's like more localized, social media. But then again, it's like, okay, then that also goes. What is my solution then? From one state to another state? It doesn't work.
We've got to let the free market pay this stuff out.